Welcome to the Lockdown Coverage Podcast with Austin Nelson, DeMarco Moore, and Jordan Maiden.
Welcome into Lockdown Coverage, the podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Maiden, along with my co-host, Austin Nelson, DeMarco Moore. Guys, how we doing tonight?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Pretty damn good.
Guys, championship weekend officially over. We've got our two Super Bowl teams, the New England Patriots, the Los Angeles Rams, and they didn't get there without their fair share of controversy. Guys, what do we make of NFL officiating at this point?
You know, obviously, as Titans fans, we had no horse in the race. I think the only team we were 100% rooting against was the Patriots. I think we can all agree there. But, yeah, I mean, I've had conversations about this since the end of the game. As a, youth official myself, I can honestly speak from both perspectives and say, nobody's going to be perfect. I mean, nobody's going to get it right. Even with the technology, sometimes you've seen that referees still don't get it right. But in this situation, for something to be so horribly obvious and for them to just get it wrong, and, I feel like we were robbed as fans. The Saints were robbed. I felt bad for Drew Brees. I felt bad for my roommate who's a Saints fan. I mean, I felt bad for the NFL, and it was embarrassing. And I mean, it made them look any worse, but also it makes you think, like, what else can they do? I mean, this is the cream of the crop, and if the cream of the crop can't get it right, where else are you going to get good refs from? So it's kind of like, you just kind of got to roll with it and understand that every few years there's going to be one call that's just so bad that it makes everybody go up in arms. But, it is what it is.
But the thing about it is, Demo, it's not the cream of the crop. The cream of the crop would be if they made these guys full-time officials. I think that's the most irritating thing about this. The league is refusing to pay full-time officials, so we're getting guys who, yes, they're very good at their jobs. But unless there's some consistency where these guys are just going to start, requiring this training, all this different kind of stuff, because right now these guys are 1099 employees, They're not having to adhere to, whatever kind of, training they would have to as if they were, fully employed by the league.
I agree, but at the same time, I guess when I say cream of the crop, I'm saying you officiate at the highest level of sports that you can go. There's no higher that you can go. So if you're being asked to come in and officiate these high-profile athletes, these high-speed, the strongest athletes in the world, I mean, you should be held to a higher standard, and there should be some higher level of accountability. But again, they're not going to get everything right. Even in that situation, what Nikhil Robey-Coleman was saying that the ref had said something about maybe somebody tipped it. Maybe that's what happened. It's just everything's moving so fast. I mean, I'm not saying what happened was right. I'm just trying to, help people gain a better understanding for why the call wasn't made.
Sure, and I get that, but if it was, a player, if it was a coach, if you make that egregious of an error, not every time you're going to be fired, not every time you're going to be cut, but that's pretty bad.
You're right. If these officials, and I understand, they're not full time, but they're still NFL officials, and that's their job. They have a pretty unique job. I mean, they can tell people, yeah, I'm an NFL official. Well, then hold yourself to that. Make the right call. That's the biggest game of the year for both teams. It's inexcusable of why that did not get called. Everybody in the entire world knew that was a flag, except that one official, that one back judge. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's obvious. Robey-Coleman is going to Tommy Lee Lewis to hit him and not go for the ball. And if you think about it, if you go back and watch the replay, if Robey-Coleman was looking, he probably could have had an interception.
Sure.
But he was going for Lee Lewis just for whatever reason. You could have called targeting. It was definitely helmet to helmet. He was not looking for the ball whatsoever. But it was ultimately pass interference. You know, like Sean Payton said, most likely three plays later, all they needed was 3 plays, and you know the Saints would have scored, and you know Saints are in the Super Bowl. But it's not what happened, and you know we can talk about the call all we want to, but you know I kind of want to fast forward a little bit more and then go to the overtime where Drew Brees just threw a very ill-advised pass, which
Sure.
you know ended up interception by John Johnson, I believe. And I've heard the statement, well, you know, his hand got tipped, his arm got tipped. It's Drew Brees. I mean, he's one of the smartest quarterbacks ever. You can't make that pass in that situation. And so, very, very ill-advised pass from him. Awful, you know, decision. So that's something else I want to hit on as well. So, you know, we can talk about the call. What was not a call all day long, but that was an awful throw from Drew.
But had it not been for that missed call, they likely would not have been in that situation.
Well, absolutely, but they were. So you got to that situation, and that happens. I mean, Saints, all they had to do was just go down and score, and then that was it. And it blows my mind that the NFL got it wrong. And now you want to talk about, should there be challenges for penalties? And the answer is hell no. You can't challenge a penalty. It's kind of like in baseball. The umpire, they call balls and strikes on their discretion. It's the same thing for NFL official. They're going to call pass interference on their discretion, they see it or not. So it's the same thing. But when it's that obvious, you gotta call it.
Totally agree. And if there ever were challenges for penalties, I mean, where do you draw the line? Even I hate that mind of thinking with challenging penalties.
I agree. My thing with that is, why does something egregious have to occur in the NFL before Roger Goodell, whoever's over the players associations, the commission, the competition committee? Why does something egregious or so crazy have to happen before the NFL steps? I mean, we say it on social media all the time. This needs to be changed. This needs to be changed. But until it actually happens on the field, or something so bad that could cause or put somebody like the Saints or like the Cowboys in 2014 in a position where they're potentially cost a trip to the Super Bowl or a trip to the championship game, why does something like this have to happen before we consider changing the rules?
Exactly.
I wish it never had to get to this point. I wish, with all the technology we have these days, we should never have to get to this point where there's an ultimatum where it's like, oh, this was so bad and there's so much heat on the league right now that maybe we should change some things. Like, why can't we just internally, year after year, come to some type of agreement? It just makes me question and wonder why the hell Roger Goodell, or how the hell Roger Goodell is still a commissioner of the NFL, making $44 million a year.
I totally agree. We'll go from one bad non-call to one very bad actual penalty. If you watch the Chiefs-Patriots game, late in the fourth quarter, Chris Jones called for roughing the passer on a slap to Tom Brady's chest.
More like a thump.
Gave him the old Ric Flair treatment and was given roughing the passer. That ultimately led to a scoring drive. Austin, what's your thoughts on it?
No, that was an awful call. I think Romo said it best himself during the game that if the official doesn't see it, you can't call it. You can't just assume that he hit his face mask or hit his face. It was obvious that he did not hit his face from any other replay angle. So you can't call that. And I think the guy behind Brady threw the flag. I think the head official threw the flag. So that was an awful.
It was,
call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if we want to kind of talk about another bad call, was the what was the offsides, the neutral zone infraction on
D Ford, yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. You want to throw the flag? Maybe it was neutral zone infraction. Sure, his hand was over the line, absolutely. But you're going to call it after, throw the flag after the play was already and going on to the opposite side of the field where the play happened. And then, MTSU's own Charvarius Ward has the ceiling interception, man. That could be such a huge story around here right now if that actually happened. But we can't because it was a very, 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 another dumb call that the NFL made on Sunday.
I agree. And it's so funny because I was I was kind of in the middle of doing some recording myself, so I was in and out of the game. So I actually didn't have an opportunity. I saw the highlight, but in real time, I didn't have an opportunity to see that. But it was like every time I turned around, something crazy was going on in the game. But yeah, for something like that to happen, it's just kind of, and people wonder, Patriots fans wonder why people say, oh my God, the refs in the league, they're so, pro Patriots and pro New England and pro Tom Brady. Everything goes their way. It seems like you already go into a game against the Patriots feeling like, you have to play a perfect game and they're not going to, hurt themselves or make any dumb penalties. And when something like this goes against you and not for them or for them, it just kind of solidifies people's thinking. So I can understand why people feel that way.
Agree completely. Patriots go to their 8th Super Bowl since 2008. Do we all agree that Tom Brady is probably the greatest quarterback ever?
Yes.
As much as it pains us to say it.
There's no debate.
Some notable local ties in there. Former Tennessee receiver, one-year wonder Cordero Patterson is going to be playing in his first Super Bowl. Former Vanderbilt defensive tackle Adam Butler will be there too. Shaq Mason, Columbia's very own, also going to be making a start there. What do we think about that, guys?
Shout out to Tennessee.
It's good to have at least one guy that played in Tennessee from here, with Shaq Mason. But yeah, shout out to Tennessee for sure. I'm rooting for both sides on that one, or whether they're all from, I guess they're all from, you got any Rams? I guess we don't have any Rams playing in the Super Bowl that played in Tennessee, huh?
I don't believe so.
Well, John Kelly.
Yes, you know what? You're right. Yeah.
Is he still on the 53?
John Kelly's. He is. Yeah. He's been playing special teams. He's had a few carries this year, not too much, but.
Oh, they picked up the bowling ball. C.J. Anderson. I don't know if John Kelly was still playing.
Buried him for a little bit.
Yeah. Right.
Well, let's move on, guys. Big game over on West End tomorrow night. Vanderbilt playing host to number 1 Tennessee. And guys, this is the biggest Tennessee Vandy game in recent memory. And,
since 08, right?
Yeah. Last time Tennessee was number 1, they traveled to Vandy and lost that night. How you feeling about it, Austin, as a Vanderbilt fan?
Looking good for Austin.
Oh, I knew you'd be on.
But yeah, let's fast forward to 10 years later. This is not the same Vandy team. This is not the same Tennessee team. Vandy is struggling right now. Man, they're the worst SEC team by far, and it hurts me to say, but it's the truth. Losing Darius Garland 5-6 games in the season hurt everything, man. It's just it's a Vanderbilt thing to happen to us. We can never have anything nice.
Except the best, probably the best facilities. Well, not facilities, but the best education in the state. Yeah, best baseball team. There you go.
By far.
But when you want to talk about down here in the South and SEC football and SEC basketball,
things that matter.
Yeah, SEC baseball is kind of on the burner compared to basketball and football around here. So yeah, we'll take our sign in baseball, but nobody really cares about that besides Vanderbilt fans. So, but yeah, it's just Garland got hurt and everything kind of went downhill, man. You kind of was like the breath got sucked out of the life of all Vandy fans and the basketball team. So it hurts. It's obviously that they're hurting because they are an awful team. I think they're now 9-8 on the season, 0-5 in SEC play. So they need a boost. They've had opportunities to win. Blew a South Carolina game that they should have won. Got mopped the other night against Mississippi State. So I don't know what to expect tomorrow night. I don't know if it'll be inspired Vanderbilt team or they're gonna get blown out by Tennessee. Tennessee's on a mission this year, so who knows?
Hey, Austin, real quick. Would you ever have thought, looking back and finding out that Darius Garland had signed with Vanderbilt, did you ever think that them losing a freshman point guard would ever mean this much to a team or make a team crumble this bad? Could you ever have imagined that?
Yes and no, DeMarco. Mainly because Darius was coming in to start, and right away, as a true freshman, he was the best player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what sucks. But it's also a very young team that Bryce Drew has, and I'm not sure. I don't think we have any seniors. I think there's a couple juniors. I'm not sure if there's any seniors on the team this year.
Maybe Matt Ryan.
You're right. The grad transfer. You could be correct. But I think Joe Toy's a junior. Saban Lee's still a sophomore. So there's younger guys. It's a group, and there's nobody on that team, no guard wise, that can compare to Darius Garland. There's not a lot of guards in the country that compare to Darius Garland. He's NBA ready already.
And he's going to the NBA.
And he announced earlier that he's going to the NBA, which is a good move for him. I think all Vandy fans wanted more, but take your money, man. He's ready for the NBA. He's been practicing it all offseason long. Before he came on campus with NBA, players. So he's made relationships with players, and I think they all kind of advised him, hey, you're a one and done type of kid. There's no need for you to play more than that. And I think he knew that too, but it just sucks again, coming back to the point that, we couldn't see more of him in a game like, tomorrow night, where it could have been fun to see him play against the number one team in the country.
Sure. Joe Toy, the only senior on the roster.
Okay, so I was wrong. Joe Toy was a senior. Okay.
So, lose Garland at the beginning of the season. He was leading the team in points at 16.2 per game. And now really, it falls on the shoulders of guys like Simi Shitu, guys like Matt Ryan, Saban Lee, Aaron Nesmith, and I don't know if it's enough to get it done against a good Tennessee team. Now we've seen them struggle against, teams like Alabama, where they have a bench player kind of go off, and Tennessee really had no answer for him. But yeah, it'll be a tough one for Vanderbilt. I've got a hard time seeing them beat Tennessee because when Tennessee playing inspired, and they will be tomorrow night in a rivalry game, they're almost unstoppable.
100%. I'm looking at it now. Tennessee has 6 guys, and I'm going to add Kyle Alexander next. He's averaging 9.9 points per game. Mm-hmm. 6 guys averaging double digits. That's insane.
Sure.
Grant Williams, obviously, averaging 19 a game, and behind Admiral Schofield with averaging 17. So, those 2 guys right there are probably 2 of the best players, 2 of the top 5, 6 players in the SEC.
Sure.
They play for Tennessee, the same team. So these guys, Grant will probably, be right up there for SEC Player of the Year again, as he deserves it. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow night. Like I said, who knows what type of team Vandy will bring out if they'll come out inspired, but it's going to be a lot of Tennessee fans there tomorrow night. I'm going to, assume a 60-40, 70-30 kind of crowd. I'm in favor of Tennessee. I think every Tennessee fan is trying to get this ticket. They've tried. I know my brother-in-law, unfortunately, sold his tickets to Tennessee fans just to make some money. So they're buying them because they want to see their guys here in Nashville. So
it's definitely a hot ticket right now. Austin, what do you think about whenever you actually say something like that? Like Tennessee is going to go sell out our arena. What do you feel like that says about Vanderbilt fans?
That athletics, they don't. It's been the norm, Jordan, for years.
Sure.
That it is what it is. Vandy has never been the top tier of the SEC ever, really, in any sport except besides baseball. That's only been here in the last 10 to 15 years or so. But we're going to talk about the 2 main sports, basketball and football, and it's always
we play the hits here. Yeah,
exactly. There's been years that Vanderbilt has done better than Tennessee. These last couple of years, Vandy football's beating Tennessee every single year, but that doesn't mean they're a better team program. It just means that they've been one up on Tennessee. How many years in a row did Tennessee beat Vandy in football? For
24.
since your great grandmother was alive that did that. So it sucks, Jordan, but it is what it is. It's kind of, I'm used to it now. Just to grow up and kind of see what it's been for so long as a fan. You're used to it now. Do you want it to change? Absolutely. But it starts with the administration. They have never cared before. The chancellor, the AD, they do just enough to get by. But there's been no full-fledged that we're going to change the athletics around, whatever it has to take. We're going to be top of the SEC in any sport, and you haven't seen that. So when other programs do, like a Tennessee, like even Mississippi State turning their program around in basketball, baseball, and football for all those three things, man, you've seen them making a effort to do it. You've seen no effort from Vandy.
What's the outlook with Bryce Drew going forward? He just seems like a great recruiter. I don't know that we've seen enough of him as a coach. I mean, he's in his third season, but he inherited, a team that was, obviously Kevin Stallings.
It's very true. I think this year was the year that we were hoping we'd see more from him. And right now, it hurts that his best player got hurt, and it's kind of, as you see now, it's taking the whole team by its whole. But he hasn't done much with what he's had. And so I'm not sure if that's on him, if it's on the players. I don't really know. A big thing right now that Vandy fans have noticed with the team, they can't hit free throws at all. They're an awful free throw shooting team. Missing 12, 13 a game at times. So I'm not sure if that's coaching, if the players just can't shoot free throws. I don't know what it is. It's too hard for them. But I've said at times that, when you lose a game like you do against South Carolina, when you're up 12 with about 4 or 5 minutes remaining, and you find a way to lose it, who do you blame? You blame the players? You blame the coaches? You want to put the blame on Bryce Drew because that's unacceptable. It's an easy win, and to lose it like that, it's hard to win games when you constantly find ways to lose them like that. So I still like Bryce Drew, Jordan. I do. Like you said, he's a great recruiter. You saw when Darius, announced today he was leaving. He said he's an awesome coach, but even a better person. So I think he's got the respect from players, but you would just like to see more wins.
Absolutely. Tennessee on the flip side, they're riding a 12-game win streak. Finished a nail biter against Alabama on Saturday, and coming into this game, I think their biggest obstacle is like we were saying, just coming in and if that Vanderbilt team's inspired, they're going to give you some fits. Simi Shitu has really proven himself to be a really good player. Tennessee maybe doesn't have the length to match up with a guy like that. We talked about Grant Williams as an offensive player, but, as a defensive player, he's a guy that's 6'5", 230, on a good day. Right. So, how do you think they match up against a guy like him? What's up, Demo?
Oh, no. Go ahead.
How do you think they match up to a guy like Simi?
Tennessee?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, you got a two-headed monster down there in the post with Schofield and Grant Williams. I've said a lot to people, and I'm not sure why it's so surprising, but I think Schofield has a chance. I'm not saying he is, but to be a first-round pick later in those last 4 or 5 picks, man, he's special. I think he's got what it takes to go out there on an NBA court and play with the best. Man, he's got heart. He hustles. He brings energy every day. So I like him a lot. Simi's going to have his hands full tomorrow night. That entire Vandy team will. Because Tennessee's on a mission. Like I said, they want to keep that number 1 spot and let the country know that, hey, we're for real. We're not just playing in a weak SEC conference. We can beat anybody. So Simi is special, Jordan. He really is. If it wasn't Darius Garland, Simi would be the highest rated recruit in Vandy history. So
there you go.
Simi's great. He's fun to watch now. Game after game. He's got a tendency, if you watch him all night, he likes to hog the ball, bring the ball up the court. But that's what he did in high school a lot. So he was, obviously if you're a player of that magnitude coming out of high school, you're going to hold the ball quite a bit. So he's got a problem doing that. But he gets to the foul line. He can, shifty. He can score at will. So it'll be fun down there to watch them tomorrow night.
Sure. Absolutely. DeMarco,
Hey,
do you have something you want to add? Yeah. What's up, man?
Yeah, man, I wanted to just butt in this Vandy UT talk.
I know.
No,
we have
no,
shut you
man.
down.
No, man. Truth be told, I'm not the Tennessee or the UT fan that, or the Vandy or the UT fans that you two are. So I was gonna kind of come in at a neutral perspective and kind of ask you, Jordan, from what you've seen so far from this team, where do you see? We've talked about the strengths, but where do you see the weaknesses with this team? Where can this team be hit from, or where do you think this team can be attacked from?
The weakness is in bench scoring for one. With Lamonte Turner being out as long as he was, it was hurting the team in the beginning. He's starting to turn that around, but bench scoring mainly coming from the post. Grant Williams is going to play at least 30 minutes a night. Kyle Alexander is going to play probably 30 minutes a night. But they've got to get more from guys like John Fulkerson, Derek Walker, guys that are playing those roles, but they've got to become scorers. Rick Barnes is heavily relying on about 7 guys to carry this team. And I think to be, a team that's going to make a long run in the tournament, I think you got to rely on more than 7 guys for sure.
And you've kind of seen, I'm sure you've seen it on social media. We've all seen it on social media, the reactions to Tennessee being, voted as the number 1 team in the country. The first thing I saw when I looked under the comments on Twitter was somebody say, well, I want to go see them play Duke or Virginia. So how do you think Tennessee fared? Obviously their only loss this season has been Kansas, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So how do you think Tennessee fares against some of the top tier teams in the nation?
Sure. Yeah. So Duke has got some athletes. They've got some great basketball players in Zion Williamson, Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett. They're all great players. I think the one thing that team really lacks is experience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Tennessee is so good at making big shots down the stretch. We saw it against Gonzaga. Admiral Schofield making that huge 3 at the end of the game. We saw him close it out against Florida, I guess on the 12th, which was just a huge win for Tennessee. I think the big play shot making is kind of the thing that puts Tennessee over the top. But a collision with athletes of that caliber, I think that would be that would definitely be Tennessee's toughest matchup for sure. They've got so many guys that can hit you from so many different directions. As far as Virginia goes, I honestly think Virginia may be the best team in the country. Before Saturday, I would have said that was Michigan, but they've proven to have some flaws. But Virginia's a senior-laden team. They're just a group of guys that really knows how to win, and I think they're extremely hungry after losing in the first round last year in the NCAA tournament. So I'm not really sure how Tennessee would stack up against them. They've got the same strengths, I feel like, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. I just wanted to pick your brain about it since you picked Austin's brain about Vandy.
I like it. Well, let's move on, guys. We talked about a couple Tennessee teams. Let's move on to the NFL. Titans have hired a new offensive coordinator.
Woo! Tighten up, ho!
Feels good. Arthur Smith. He's the guy. Anybody remember who Arthur Smith was when they said they promoted him?
Yeah, no, I did actually.
Okay, I like it. I love,
No, I really did.
I love the honesty.
The reason I knew is because just being on Twitter and following a lot of guys, who really follow the Titans. My God, dude, they were all in on Arthur Smith. And I'm thinking, my God, who is this guy? Why are we hiring this guy? He's a tight ends coach for us. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
But you go back and you look exactly his history with the Titans. Guys, he's been here since 2011. He survived 4 coaching changes. Think about it. He survived Munchak, survived Wisenhunt, survived Malarkey. Verbilt said, you know what? Yeah, I'll keep you here too. So he's liked by these people. He's very well respected. Now, does he have the capability of being an OC? We're about to find out. But if you go back and look this past couple of days, players are very excited about it. I've seen tweets from Taylor Lewan, Delaney Walker was the hype about it, Tajay Sark, Jonnu Smith. They're all excited about Arthur. So that tells me that they are very happy with this guy. That's kind of who they wanted to be the guy. So that right there just gets me excited.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Demo, what do you think about the hire, man?
Man, I like it from a continuity standpoint. Not so much as a Mariota thing, because at this point, Mariota's on a 1-year contract, in my opinion. Just, looking at the bigger picture, but as a continuity thing for the entire offense, because Mariota's not the only person who has to, learn a new offense if they would have brought in an outside guy. Then we're talking about, Tajay, Corey Davis, Jonnu, the entire offensive line. And not saying they could have done it, but this is a super young team, especially on the offensive side of the football. So, Mariota would have been in his 5th year, so I felt like he would have been fine regardless. But when you talk about learning another offense for the entire offense, I feel like this is good for continuity reasons. And like Austin said, the fact that so many former players and coaches and current players are backing it and endorsing it, makes me more excited as well, and kind of makes me curious as to how much he soaked up from Matt LaFleur, who soaked up some things from Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and that whole branch and tree, and kind of, reading some tweets and seeing that, he might bring some run elements from the Malarkey days, and hopefully not too much from the Malarkey days, because that's what ultimately got him fired. But it kind of also begged the question of, or not begged the question, but kind of made me think about, this organization. It has a history of rewarding loyalty. I can think back to Mike Munchak, who was mentioned in, head coaching jobs this year, and it kind of made me miss Mike Munchak. I miss Mike Munchak. I feel like he got a bad, he got dealt a bad hand, when he was promoted to head coach. And I feel like given a second chance, he'd be a pretty damn good head coach. But, that's neither here nor there. I'm excited for it. I just feel like it's good to go with continuity over that new thing.
Sure.
Jordan, what do you think about it?
I'm gonna go with DeMarco. I like the continuity. This is at least a guy that Marcus knows, and probably knows Marcus. What his strengths, what his weaknesses are at this point. And I think there had to be some kind of turnaround from what happened last year. I get why LaFleur was hired away, just for knowing Sean McVay, which I think I need to go meet Sean McVay so I can get like an NFL coaching job.
Damn near something, a quality control coach or something.
I swear that's going to be the next move we see, Demo. We're going to see a quality control guy get a head coaching job. So he worked with Sean McVay at some point.
They said you're going to get back coaches next.
Oh God, yeah.
Wait,
next
you recorded film for the Rams? So you watched Sean McVay? Yes. You're our new DC. Okay.
You're the janitor at the Rams facility. Yeah. Hop on the staff, guys.
You clean his toilet? Okay, you're hired.
I get it. I get, wanting to find those young offensive minds, but whatever. But the hire, yeah, I like it. As far as a continuity standpoint for Marcus, I think it's huge. This is a guy, that's had, 5 different, or will be on his 5th offensive coordinator in 5 years.
God.
Only guy I remember like that was like Alex Smith. So that's big from that standpoint. Delaney Walker praised it. You're only seeing good things from the players. And at the end of the day, those are the guys that are going to be, working for him.
Right.
So if they're happy about it, I'm happy about it.
Real quick, Jordan. Paul Kuharski said it best. I think he said it best. It's like, yeah, you see the good things, but it's like, why would the players say anything bad about Arthur Smith? Like, why would anybody come out publicly and say, oh no, I hate this hire? You know, but that's just,
all right, Demo, you're reading way too much.
You could just not.
No.
Listen, his negative Nancy ass. Don't listen to him.
I know. But I'm just saying, why would somebody say something negative about
No,
Arthur
you're
Smith?
right, absolutely. But I think
But you could just not comment on it.
Exactly.
There's
you said
plenty of
nothing
guys
at
that
all,
probably just didn't comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did learn that. Silence is acknowledgement. You're right.
If we heard nothing at all from players, and you're like, wait a minute, okay, maybe they don't like this guy. But just to see I saw 5, 6, 7 players just say, praising about him. That's just, it speaks volumes, I think. But now you got to transition.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to score points.
Yeah, we need more than 20 points. We need it.
I just want to see, some explosive plays. Just see Marcus finally just be a top, quarterback that we hoped he'd be. With 25 touchdowns and, 3,500 yards. It's something exciting game after game. And we were never going to question Marcus saying, all right, what are we going to get today from him?
I need more than 11 touchdowns and 2,500 yards.
I need more than 26 touchdowns.
I need more than that.
100%.
Good God.
Everybody does.
But you know what, though? I feel like the Titans, I might be, hopefully I'm not alone in this, maybe so. But I feel like the Titans base is the fan base is kind of, scarred. They're kind of like the boyfriend that kind of got like led astray or, led along by the hot girl. And then they ran off to the newest thing by Matt LaFleur. So now I feel like our guard is up now. We're like, man, this Arthur Smith, he's been here for a while. He's kind of like the friend that's been around for a minute. And, you didn't know you had feelings for her until the other girl left you. And then he came and consoled you. And then you were like, man, I think I like you. But you're worried that I'm just worried. I don't want Arthur Smith to leave too. I don't want him to do a really, really good job. And people are like, man, he's been loyal. And then he came and he rejuvenated Marcus Mariota's career. Because Marcus Mariota is a very polarizing player. As was Derrick Henry. So I don't want him to leave too. That's the only thing I'm worried about too. That's like point number 2 that I'm worried about.
Before we can even talk about him finding a new job, I just want to let's see him out there first, see what his offense will look like.
I agree.
I'm sure you're going to see a lot of what we saw last season. I mean, he worked hand in hand with Matt LaFleur. You're going to see, I don't think a lot will change. Maybe some new stuff, which, I hope. Because LaFleur at times, I hated the offense for the first 8-9 weeks of the season. He finally kind of got it going near the end.
It was pretty bad.
It wasn't any fun. This team, they looked mediocre. This offense was just piss poor. So,
but Austin, do you not think that was because Marcus was battling injuries? Like, do you think do you not think he was kind of handcuffed in what he was able to do? Because I'll argue that, in the Dolphins game, that first drive looked terrific. Like, with all the schemes and, designs and everything they were running, they were kind of keeping the Dolphins off balance. And, Marcus had an open touchdown pass that he missed, or he didn't miss it, but he left it. He underthrew it, or would have been a touchdown pass to Luke Stocker. But, until he got hurt, the offense looked damn good to me. But I think when he got hurt, he just battled some things. So I feel like we never got to see what the LaFleur offense could have truly been because Marcus was injured, which is like, so irking. But, it is what it is. He's gone now. So I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I'm just fine. I was listening.
So, guys, what do we think the offense will actually look like? Is this going to be, more of a West Coast style offense that would probably be better suited for Marcus, or do we think it's just going to be incredibly run heavy? What are you guys thinking?
It's a good question, Jordan. You'd hope a little bit of both. And I'll end with this. I think You want to see more from Marcus, so you need to see more passes. Okay. I think it's kind of way too early to talk about it as well. Who knows who the Titans will get in free agency and the draft wise. I think Titans still need some more weapons. We'll get on that later down the road, but when you want Marcus to put the numbers like we talked about, and you need to see more from Marcus, well, he's got to pass the ball, right? But when you have a monster in the backfield and Derrick Henry, who you saw towards the end of the year, you know what he's capable of week after week.
Yeah, he actually looks good now. He looks like he doesn't suck anymore.
Right. I was never on that train. That was you. I was never on that train at all.
That was me. I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take that one.
I was on that train. I was definitely on that train.
The way I looked at it was, why would the people who want Derrick Henry gone want him gone? Why would you want him on another team where if you had to face him, you had him right here on your own team? I don't know why you would want to face Derrick Henry. I know fans from other teams are probably thinking, shit, we got Derrick Henry this week? Crap. But what I was saying, is how do you balance, the passing game and now the running game? So who knows what you'll see, because will he implement like you said, a West Coast type offense, or you'll see some quick slants and a lot of exotic stuff, and you'll see a heavy smash mouth from like the Milwaukee days. So I don't really know what to expect yet.
Sure. Guys, Pro Bowl this weekend. Titans had 3 guys make the roster. Obviously, Jarrell Casey not going to be playing. But Taylor Lewan, Brett Kern in there. So if you guys can stomach the Pro Bowl, that is this weekend.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I think I'll be skipping out. I might catch some highlights. I love football, so I'll probably watch just to watch.
A little bit.
But
the problem is, if you guys have looked, the rosters are very, very questionable. Very questionable.
Oh yeah, even the fact that Marcus made it to the roster, I'm kind of like, what's going on here? What are y'all doing?
Man, who knows? I don't get why they do what they do, but just the fact that when Philip
fan voting,
yeah, it ruins everything. The fact that when Philip Lindsay got hurt, they threw Lamar Miller in there over Derrick Henry, which makes no sense.
Yeah, the numbers don't even match up.
Or the fact that when Jared Goff goes to the Super Bowl, they're gonna throw Mitch Trubisky in there when a guy like Matt Ryan probably deserves it more or something like that. Just it doesn't make any sense.
I agree completely. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm gonna watch the Royal Rumble instead. So,
hey, that probably will be way more entertaining, and that's fake. So, this says a lot about the Pro Bowl.
I will give you guys an update on the next podcast.
Yes, let me know how it goes.
For sure.
I'll do it. Well, guys, it's been fun. Always enjoy talking with you guys. Guys, we'll have a new podcast out next week. Not really sure what we're talking about yet, but you can always bet it's going to be, local stuff. So, for Austin Nelson, DeMarco Moore, I'm Jordan Mayton. We'll talk to you guys next week.